We are here today with Emilie Knight, who is the fabulous author of the Dagger and Scythe book, which I reviewed not too long ago, and I like it quite a lot. I believe that's coming out, in a few days now, isn't it?
Yeah, October 1st. Tuesday at the point of...
Exciting. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're working on besides Dagger and Scythe launch, although that's very exciting and we'll touch on that later.
Yeah, so I'm Emilie, and I kind of a boring life. I just work in a car dealership call center kind of thing, and I write on the side and in like my lunch hour kind of stuff. I don't know. I live on my own with 2 cats, so not really sure.
No, cats are great. Mine is currently asleep under the blankets on my bed.
Oh, nice. Mine are not sleeping, so we might end up hearing them.
Oh. Oh, yours don't sleep for most of the day then.
So they usually do, but I just recently got home from work, so they're all excited now.
Ah.
Yeah.
Ah. Come feed me, slave. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know that one pretty well.
So yeah, in regards to what I'm working on next, I am currently editing a new novel called Fractured Memories. It's not done just yet, and that might come out in like a year or so, but it's going really well, and that one is really fun. Weirdly enough, there's no supernatural stuff in it this time.
Okay.
I know, weird, right? Compared to the last one.
Yeah. So this isn't in the same world then?
It is, actually. It's all in the same world, but you know how Dagger and Scythe like kind of took place in the land of the dead?
Yeah.
This time it's the land of the living.
Okay. So they're not dead. That's a good start. Okay, so now I really want to know, how do you incorporate that world without having any of the supernatural?
This one, it was kind of a happy accident because I had this cool idea of a woman wanting to get revenge on some people who attacked her, so she's going to the highest extreme. She's to become queen. But then there's another character who's like a prostitute turned assassin who's trying to live her own life and also leave the city. Obviously, the two meet, kind of chaos ensues, and the story goes from there, and things don't end well.
But do they ever?
Nah. Hopefully no, but hopefully yes at the same time. I like the bittersweet ending, so there's always like a little mix of both.
And do you have a main antagonist this time, or is it going to be just trouble causers?
There's a main antagonist this time.
Okay, interesting. Because the last one, I mean, I can't really tell what happened because spoilers, but it was dramatic and not what I expected.
Oh, good, thank you. I'm glad you liked it.
All right. So as far as the editing process goes, how is that working out for you?
Really well so far. I'm just going through my first draft right now, so I'm just picking out little notes of things I can fix here and there. And it is in the hands of a beta reader at the moment, so I'm getting her opinions on some things I can kind of fix and how she doesn't like one certain character, how I can kind of fix that because she's meant to be a sympathetic character. So I need to work on that one a little bit, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of the worst people to read for sympathetic characters because they say, oh, yeah, you like this person. Like, no, but I really like your villain.
That's kind of why I wrote Dagger and Scythe the way I did, because I love the villains as well. I wanted to write about them instead.
Yeah, and the people who are supposed to be nice and friendly and everybody loves them, meh.
That's boring.
I don't know if boring's quite the word, but...
It depends on the story.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, do you have a least favorite part of the writing process?
Least favorite? It's not the least favorite, but it was definitely the hardest hurdle to get over, is just the whole marketing aspect and getting the book out there for people to see, and just like this, basically, because I'm an introvert. I live in a basement with 2 cats. That's about it.
Yeah, marketing is, I think, many writers' anathema.
Oh, yes.
And, I'm still working on it. You know, and doing the indie thing, of course, is always more fun because we have to cultivate all those resources.
Oh, yes, we're completely on our own, but it's a good journey. I'm honestly enjoying it.
Yeah?
Kind of like working my way up to, I don't know, bigger things.
Yeah. Well, do you have any tricks for this?
Not really, in regards to getting over your like introversion-ness. That's never going to go away for me. But I think if you just take those small steps and push yourself to do those small steps, they'll kind of reward you more so in the long run.
Well, as far as the social media part goes, at least there's the internet between introverts and the rest of the world, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really bad. So bad.
Okay, so am I.
Okay, so your bookshelf behind you is quite extensive.
Yes.
Is there a story that you wish you had written on that shelf?
I have a lot. Honestly, I think in the camera you can only see maybe like a third of it because they go all the way down to the floor.
Okay, yeah.
Inside it right now, and there's more over on the other side.
Oh, okay.
One that I wish I'd written, probably some in the Stephen King vein of things.
Yeah.
His take on horror and the like slow building gothic macabre kind of thing.
That's always fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm trying to read your bookshelf. Sorry, it's a bad habit of mine when someone's standing in front of a bookshelf.
Hold on, I'll move.
Oh no, you're fine. Oh, well, you have quite the collection there.
Yeah.
Okay, and so this looks mostly the fantasy / well, Stephen King is not quite fantasy. You could put him in the supernatural, I suppose.
He's a bit of both. I mean, if you read his Dark Tower series, even that's not strictly fantasy or strictly horror. That's also a mash of like Western and almost everything else. But it's mostly like horror and fantasy behind.
Yeah, well, I know space opera is sci-fi plus Western. So what would be a fantasy opera? That doesn't sound right.
Kind of. That kind of makes sense.
It does, but I think it needs a better name.
It does need a better name, but it kind of works.
It kind of works.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So how did you get into this writing thing?
I've always enjoyed writing, even since like high school days. Those ones will never see the light of day because they are not good. But
Really?
A couple of years ago, back in 2017, I was just sitting at my desk at work, bored out of my mind, still like meeting my quota and everything. But I wanted to do something more, something bigger, I guess. So I'm just like, November is coming around, and that's when NaNoWriMo starts. So I'm just like, I'm gonna give it a shot, and I did it.
And are you going to do it this year?
Sorry?
Are you going to do NaNoWriMo this year?
Not this year. No, not this year. I did it in 2017, and I did it. I won. But then after that, I'm not a fan of the pace of it. It's a lot. It's a huge challenge for like anybody. Yeah. You have to write like at least 1,700 words a day, which is doable.
But
at the same time, it's a lot.
Free time? What do you mean free time? There's no such thing as free time.
What is this? I just need coffee in a room and I'm good. I can't leave.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a quick pace. And was that your first novel in the series that you published?
Yeah. That's when I wrote Era of Undying.
Okay. And now I don't know all that much about that one because I read Dagger Inside first. So tell us a little bit about the first novel in your world.
That one, Era of Undying, is about the character Pen, who's the only blood warrior in their world. She can move her blood outside of her body from any open wound.
Ow.
Yeah. And she also needs to figure out why people in her world can't die. So also, things happen.
Yeah. I mean, how do you test the not dying bit? I'm presuming they're not, the Walking Dead type stuff.
No, it's not like the Walking Dead kind of thing. They're not turning into zombies, but people have been like surviving horrible falls or like being hanged at an execution and they're just dangling there. And
so you have to test that what? Oh yeah. I need to test if you're able to be killed stab.
Basically, people in the country didn't know it was happening right away. So it was a very discrete moment in like their history, but then once it started, everyone started catching on to what was actually happening. Not everyone wanted it to actually happen.
Well, no.
No, because the person who sent Pen off on her little quest is a king of Stymphalia, one of the cities in my world, who was like dying of cancer, but also not dying because it wasn't working. So he was not having a good time.
Ow. I was thinking more like the other direction. I wanted to murder my cousin, but my cousin wouldn't die. No. Oh, that's much worse.
I'm sure I could get some good side stories of like the murdering cousins kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I can live with that. Okay, now tell me once and for all, how do you pronounce the death god's name? Because I've looked at it and I need to analyze this, and the linguist in me says it's this way, but then as soon as I try to say it, it comes out completely different.
It's a weird little name. It's because I love ancient Greek so much, and
Mm-hmm.
hence like the pantheon I'm making up is based off of them. But
Sure.
he's called Meniodes.
Maniodes. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's what my head tells me, but not what my mouth says.
I know English is weird, so combining it with other languages does make it complicated. But there's a trick to ancient Greek where every single letter is pronounced. There's no
Yeah.
silent ones. There's no
Okay.
like combinations really.
So think German.
Yeah, just a lot of shorter words because German can get intimidating as well.
Well, that's because the Germans go and combine words together, and you get really, really long, absurd things that are like the ship captain who owns the pub over the hill somewhere.
Is all like one word.
It's all one word. Yeah, it's terrible. Okay, so as far as the ancient Greek goes, did you study the language or the culture?
A little of both. When I was in university for 4 years, I took just ancient Greek and Roman history studies.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, we studied all of the culture, the history, the one of my favorite classes that was a whole semester was how their funerals work. I know, right? That was so cool.
That is very cool. Now you have to explain.
I don't remember all of the details, but a lot of it is probably going to be in like my books as well on
Uh-huh.
how their funeral processions work. How they're usually buried like outside of the city, but important people are inside the city and they're like week long worth of partying, kind of. How it's like lamenting sadness. But also for some people it was like funeral games, which were just like sports games.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of different combinations depending on like the time frame, the history, who died, stuff like that.
And how much wine was being served?
Oh yes. Dionysus was probably involved.
Oh, very likely. That'd be my guess. Oh, great fun. Yeah, no, my knowledge of funeral rites sort of ends with ancient Egypt.
Oh, that'd be cool though too. I
Yeah,
love all
those are
the
fun.
mummifications.
Yeah, yeah, the Book of the Dead, it's not quite what everyone thinks.
No, I haven't actually read that one. I'd like to.
Okay, so the Book of the Dead is a book of spells that a person is given upon their death, and they take it with them through their journey in the underworld, and they have to say these spells at strategic points to keep from
Hmm.
being eaten by the various gods that are guarding the underworld.
That is a
And they
good.
also, yeah, it's basically a I'm actually a good person, don't kill me. I'm
I'm
actually
a
a
good
good
person.
person.
Don't hurt me. I can say these words.
Yeah, and so, when the weighing of the heart happens, you can say this spell, and even if you were a terrible person, if you say the spell right, you'll get through.
It's like a cheat code.
It's a cheat code. Pretty fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the underworld, the afterlife, is basically working the fields for the gods, so bummer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a bummer in that case.
Yeah. So it's a cheat code, but I mean, the alternative is being eaten.
Yeah, you don't want that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, great fun. All right. So how did you create your pantheon?
I sort of took the basics of Greek mythology in regards to like Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades,
Hmm.
and I made my own top dogs, as it were, with Meniodes and Phios,
Yeah.
and the one above them, who's like the Titan with
Hmm.
the Greek, I don't know, generations. She's their mom basically. So it it goes like Nyx, Phios, and Meniodes, and then their wives, which are going to be in like different stories,
Okay.
who
So
are sorry,
I haven't encountered their wives yet.
they're not there yet. They're not there just yet. They're called Emira and Zane, who's like the sun and the moon.
Hmm.
And there's a bunch of other little like demigods and history events all around them. Some cataclysmic events, just like in Greek mythology and stuff like that, and
Yay.
demigod world stories, stuff like that.
Very fun. And so this is Greek mythology, not Roman.
Yes, I mean, they're very similar, and people do really get them mixed up because the Romans borrowed so heavily from the Greek stuff. I mean, like Jupiter is Zeus,
Hmm.
Ares is Mars. They copied a lot, which is fine and fun, but yeah, it's the Greek ones that I love.
Got it.
Even on the bookshelves, you can't see them here, but they're all I have a whole bunch of just Greek mythology old stuff.
Yeah. Good fun. Good fun.
Mhm.
So what are you editing out of your books?
What I took out of it?
Yes. Are there any scenes, lost scenes from the books?
Yes, there is a lost scene for Dagger and Scythe where I changed the ending entirely. Not in a bad way.
Okay. But still, gasp.
Nothing hugely related. And I can't really give away too much without spoilers.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But it the new ending, what we have now, what you guys like see, does prolong it a good bit. But there's a little scene that I miss where all of the characters, all of the Incarentus Ferrum order, they're having a little like funeral parlor for one of their fallen friends, who you might know if you read it and everything. That moment where that happened, where like like vanished, if that happens, it doesn't break out in a fight. Everyone else kind of goes off back to Dagger and Scythe's house, and they have like a little funeral for their little friend. Yeah, and then after all of that, the festival happens,
and then things.
And the climax would happen.
I see.
Rearranged a few things.
I see. Huh. Interesting. I feel like the people who are watching this are going to be so confused, but once you read the book, you will understand.
It'll make so much sense, guys. It's awesome, trust me.
Yeah, definitely good book. Okay, this is going to be a random question. How did you come up with the idea of decorating via human entrails?
I don't really know because I can't really say it's a personal preference, but it's mostly my love for like the gothic and the macabre bleeding through. And not gonna lie, I have a lot of little like skeleton animal friends that are kind of around the place. Sure. I have like a human skeleton Halloween decoration. I named him Edgar. He's just kind of hanging on my living room right now. I'm just kind of into that, like even up this little skeleton cat thing.
Oh.
I just love Halloween and the weird decorations and just like skeletons in general, so I ran with it.
Yeah, so perfect time of year for you then. All right, so now you have to throw a Dagger inside the festival party, just saying.
Oh, I totally can. They would love Halloween if they were here.
Yes, although that's not really a Greek holiday.
It's not a Greek holiday, but...
I mean, it's Celtic.
Sorry?
It's Celtic, and the Romans did encounter the Celts.
That's true. I mean, we could weave it in somehow.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, moving sideways. What is the best money you've ever spent as an author and / or with author proceeds?
I'm not entirely sure. I got a really nice reading chair when I could afford that. It's really pretty and it's all like pale and it's like covered in words and all that stuff.
Ooh,
but I can't show it to you, but it's like I'm looking at it. It's next to me. That's why I'm looking down off camera. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Also, just more books, really, in general. I want to get more indie books, so I can also start making like my own reviews on them.
Yes, indie books are great. There's so many of them, though. The list never ends.
I mean, yay, never ending.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. To be fair, the traditional publishing list of books I need to read never ends. Also.
Yes.
But I feel like the indie list is longer. So do you have a favorite one of the books that you've read so far?
Of indie ones?
Yeah.
Not quite yet. I have a collection on hand, which I'm sorry, I keep looking off screen, but I have them next to me. I just look at them.
No worries.
I did order one called In the Fallen Woods, I think, or Fallen in the Woods, which I'm really excited for.
Okay.
So that's an indie one.
That sounds interesting. I've not heard of that one, but that, again, the list is never ending. Yeah, so plans for starting up book reviews. Very fun. None of us will complain at all, I'm sure.
No, that's good.
Yeah, okay. So what do you think of the indie world as opposed to the traditional publishing world? Because I know some people find it a little bit controversial, I'm doing self-publishing because I can't do the traditional publishing, but I've not agreed with that. So I'm going to open a little bit of a controversial debate.
No, me neither. I think everyone can go the traditional publishing route. All you need to do is find all you need to do, even though this is like the hardest part, is finding a publisher and an agent who will accept you,
Right.
which is the hard part. And I think a lot of people don't go over that hurdle.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I chose self-publishing, though, was because I wanted to be more in control of like my career and my life, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted more control in that kind of aspect.
Yeah. And do you have any big plans for your career in the near future besides book 3?
Oh yes, I have like 7 in my head right now.
7.
A few more after that.
Oh my. All right. Well, are you going to plan them out, or are you just going to throw them out as they come?
A little of both. I am kind of planning a sequence of events where Fractured Memories is going to come out next. Then either a proper sequel to Era of Undying will come out, or a completely different one that has giant shape-shifting spiders battling a plague kind of thing.
Giant shape-shifting spiders. Shape-shifting into what?
Humans shape-shifting into giant spiders.
Aha.
They're like a secret tribe.
Aha, giant spiders. I mean, that's not the first thing I would think of. But it's better than bugs. I mean, I can do spiders, but insects? It's not happening.
Not gonna lie, I'm okay with bugs in general, but spiders and centipedes I can't do.
Centipedes
I don't know why I'm doing giant spiders, but I like it.
Yeah. Well, okay. And then, of course, there are different kinds of spiders to choose from, you know.
Yes. My guys are going to be like giant hairy tarantulas.
Ah, okay. Are they going to be the, 1950s B-movie, like, big enough to step on you type, or
Not
modern
that
CGI type?
They're going to, like, vary in size. The biggest ones can, like, pull a carriage like a horse. Smaller ones will be about the size of a regular tarantula who are just kind of like hanging out in the shoulders of like everyone else. So they vary in size.
I like that. Yeah, I'm just hanging out. I'm
just kind of hanging out with my friends.
Doing my thing. Spying for the realm. All right, so after giant spiders and or proper sequel, then what?
That's where it gets a little fuzzy in regards to like plotting it all out, because I'm seeing where the story wants to take me.
Mm-hmm. And going to do everything in the same world, or are you going to jump worlds at any point?
At the moment, it is all in the same world.
Hooray for consistency, yeah?
Yay!
Yeah, you know exactly where you're going, and instead of having to make like 7 maps or something.
Yeah. I'm still in like the map building process of Icorasis, which is the whole name of the little land. I'm still like trying to draw a good map so it can be in books in the future. I'm not a very good artist.
I would really love a map because I am directionally challenged, and I get so lost when trying to navigate my own neighborhood, let alone a fictional world.
Not gonna lie, part of like the editing process is just making sure that the characters are going in the right direction. Because there have been times where there's like Pen is traveling south, and all of a sudden I mention she's going west. Like, no, she's not.
Well, I mean, there was a slight detour. Wait, no, hold on.
It was a good pub that way. And then they went back south. North.
Yeah, I mean, you had to stop, see the pub, get a postcard, that sort of a thing.
Exactly.
It's just off camera.
But yeah, little things like that I had to like keep track of where everything was.
Yeah. So for people trying to get into the industry in, well, let's say your brand of macabre fantasy, are there any traps that they should avoid? And no, trapdoor spiders don't count.
Darn. Okay. Traps, I'm not entirely sure of traps, but there definitely are hurdles, because I've noticed a lot of bloggers and reviewers, they're very comfortable in their niche of like maybe YA or like the simple kind of fantasy stuff, or just like romance novels, or just like a general fiction kind of thing, which is fine. That's their niche.
Sure.
This little like gothic macabre niche is very small.
Is it?
It is quite small. I'm glad I can find people like you who read it and love it as much as I do.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm converting people. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, would you say you've crossed over into dark fantasy?
Yes. Actually, that is how I'm like marketing most of this, is just dark fantasy and kind of like grim dark stuff.
Okay, interesting. Because I'm really bad at genre identification. Just flat out, I'm bad at it. But it seems like the dark fantasy in your stuff is, I mean, it crosses over, but it's different.
It is different. Dagger and Scythe, especially because it also focuses on like the relationship between Dagger and Scythe.
Yeah.
So yes, there's romance there, a good 60% of it, but not all of it.
No. Yeah, I mean, I would say it's subplot, but it's also not. Oh, I'm really bad at genre.
It's, even when I was writing this, I'm like, okay, it's an undead couple who take over the land of the dead. That's the plot. They take over the land of the dead, and it's awesome. But at the same time, there's this relationship growing between the two.
Right.
And I realized that was outweighing the other one a little bit.
Aha. I don't know. I think it worked out very well in terms of
It
the
was
balance.
balanced well by the end.
But that marketing thing. Oh, oh, marketing.
I know.
Yeah.
Scary.
So where are you finding most of your readers and fellow writer types for your genre?
I've found a bunch of lists of just like reviewers and bloggers online, so that's been incredibly helpful. But I've also been reaching out on like Facebook and Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and anyone who wants to contact me there as well, I'll definitely reply to almost anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if I'm willing to like talk to anyone over there.
Always fun. Okay, so figure out your people. That's always a good one. Anything else?
Mm-hmm.
Any other tricks for these hurdles?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head at the moment, but in regards to like writing in general, make a habit for yourself, but don't beat yourself up if you don't make it. Like if you can write 5,000 words in one day, that's great. But if you only get like 500 the next day, that's still good. That's still not zero.
Right, exactly. Although 5,000 words in a day, I mean, that's like, wow.
That's a lot. I don't think I've ever hit that. I've seen it on like Facebook now and then. I think the highest I've gone is like 2,000.
Yeah, I think I've done that once, way back when I had no other things to do besides writing at all.
Yeah, that's like a good weekend for me. Other than that, I get like 300 to 500 words. But
Yeah.
even then, if you keep up that good pace, you can get a good sized novel in like 3 months.
Absolutely. And then you have to worry about the editing and the cover design and the marketing after you've actually published it and
Oh, yeah.
the writing of the next book. And yeah, eventually this turns into a job.
It does, but it's a good job. It's one that I want to do, and it's very fulfilling.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so for as far as research, you said you went to university and mostly pulled it out from there. Is there any other research that you do? Like how much pain the human body can withstand?
I did have to research how much blood a person can lose without like passing out. Because with Pen, my blood warrior lady who can like pull blood outside of her body, she's pulling her own blood out of her own wounds. So it's like if she pulls too much, she's just gonna pass out.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out that balance.
I feel like that would be a problem. You know, just
You
a
don't
little.
want to pass out mid-battle.
No, probably not. Although the opponent might think you're dead.
That's true, but then they might try to do like a double tap and just take off your head anyway. Just in case.
Yeah, I could see how that would be bad. Oh, very fun. Okay, more Pen questions. Can she pull blood from other people, or is it just herself? She's,
It's just herself.
limited supply. Bummer. Bummer. Oh, poor lass.
The powers might evolve at some point. It depends where the story's kind of going, but at the moment she can only draw from herself.
Okay, and for the dagger and scythe, where did you come up with the ideas for the skeletons? I love them.
Oh, the sentries?
Yes.
Again, it's just because I love like Halloween macabre stuff, and I have a Halloween decoration of a skeleton dude like staring at me right now.
Mm-hmm. Do you weave ribbons into him?
I have not. No, he's wearing an old leather jacket right now, though.
Poor Edgar.
No, he's good. He's warm.
He's good. Well, yeah. I mean, fall is coming, so
Sure,
being-
he'll need that jacket.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Alrighty. So, is there anything else you'd like to add, writing related or otherwise?
On my end, I can't think of anything just off the top of my head at the moment, but Dagger and Scythe is still like available for pre-order in ebook and paperback and hardcover over on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely go pick up a copy when you guys can, and it'll come out on Tuesday. You can just pick it up afterwards. It'll be awesome.
Yes, I'm very excited. Although by the time this interview comes out, it will have already been out for a bit.
Oh, that's okay, because then you guys can totally buy it like now anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, go buy it. It's the perfect novel for Halloween, honestly, even though there's no such thing as Halloween in the Greek culture.
That's okay. I can make up my own, right? It's my own little fantasy world.
Well, I mean, there was the festival.
Yes, which not gonna lie, kind of was based off of Halloween a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. But I think you may need to weave in some Roman conquering of the Celtic world there just for
I could do
future
that.
reference.
I could do that. I could weave something in.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so as far as Greek/Roman conquering methodology, is that going to show up at any point? Because right now, as far as I understand, things are a little bit city-state.
Things are very city-state at the moment, which is just like ancient Greek with like Athens and Sparta
Right.
and Thebes and Colchis and all of that stuff. But at the moment, it's not changing. I can't really say much in regards to like spoilers though. So,
Spoilers. No. No, because honestly, Greek and Roman warfare, it's very entertaining.
yes.
Yeah. Oh,
If I
good.
could get like a Battle of Thermopylae in there with like the 300 Spartans all by themselves, if I could weave that in there somehow, I am totally doing that.
Yep. Although I think it might be a really bad Tuesday for those poor guys.
Oh God, it would, yeah. It would just all get slaughtered.
I mean, yeah, okay, there's history and then there's, reality of history and it's not always the same and yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then there's the story that we tell ourselves, like the 300 movie, which is not accurate at all, but it's still
I've
fun.
never actually seen it.
It's a good movie, definitely. If you're into like, if you're into the blood and gore like this one, definitely try out 300. It's fun.
Is it mostly just yelling and blood and gore and that sort of a thing?
Basically, there's a subplot back in Sparta.
I heard a noise.
That was my cat. That was Alice.
That is quite the meow.
She's a talkative little monster.
Uh-huh. Yeah, cats are definitely vocal when they need something.
Oh yes, especially Alice. Coraline, not so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, well, that is fantastic. And I'm curious about this movie, but I'm not that curious. So we'll see.
That's okay. If you're in the mood for something gory, go for it, but that's about it.
Meh. Eh. I like movies. If you're gonna have blood and gore, at least have a little bit of a story. Like, yours is fascinating because yes, people die.
It does have story to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say story is probably most of it, although the people dying violently is rather important also.
Yes.
Yep.
Scythe would have a good time.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, now I really want to go and learn how to use a scythe. And
that would be so much fun. Just a
that
giant
would be.
scythe.
Although, having seen the Russian sides, because Russian lit is a thing, and Dostoevsky, no, sorry, Tolstoy and sides, for some reason, it's a thing. I'm not sure it would make a wonderful weapon because the handle's kind of awkward and you have to and I don't know. We'll see.
It is in a weird way. Scythe is definitely based on just like the cool like single staff, mostly straight,
Uh-huh.
and the giant blade, obviously,
Yeah.
of the Grim Reaper's scythe.
Right. And it shrinks, which is fantastic.
And it shrinks, so convenient for like storing in your little bits of clothes.
Yeah. I want one of those. So bad.
The size changing ones.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right. If you have any last remarks about your books, I want to know.
Oh, like I said, I can't give away too much in regards to like spoilers. But if you do like Dagger's Scythe, it's a prequel to the first one, Era of Undying. So you can read them in whatever order need be.
Oh, perfect. That's
Yeah.
wonderful because I'm really bad. I have to read books in order. It kind of
So
freaks me
why?
out if I don't.
So do I. And I was paranoid about putting like book 2 in the title of this one. And I
Mhm.
did. It's in like the little pages there. But at the same time, it's the second chronologically that I published. That's
Yeah.
how I'm kind of going along with it.
That's true. Well, I mean, if you understand that it's not so much a linear series as it is a collection.
Yeah, and once more come out, that'll kind of be even more clear. Because once like Fractured Memories comes out, that's not related to these two like at all. But it's in the same world anyway, but it's gonna have book 3 in the title, so
Right.
it's book 3 in the Icorian epics.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. That'll work out grand.
Yes.
And now I need to go read book 1, and I'm very curious about book 3 because Fractured Memory, Sounds rather
Oh, it's a good one too.
mhm. Sounds troublesome.
Oh yes. You have no idea.
Oh dear. This will be fun. All right, well, it has been absolutely fantastic talking with you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yes, and thank you for like having me on your little show. This is fun.
Yeah, yeah. I love talking about all of the macabre and things and history and giant spiders, which oddly enough, this is not the first time this has come up. So
Really? Cool.
yeah, yeah. Who would have thought? Anyways, have a great evening.
You too.